Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone out there who might be listening. I am here in the LinkedIn offices, although you can't tell, I'm just sitting in the reception room. Yay! So fitting. I'm doing a LinkedIn Live in the LinkedIn building. So I'm super pumped and excited about that. But I have an awesome guest here on the Sellovatorz HumAIn Sales live stream, and that is Larry Long. But before I let him do his introduction, because I would do him a complete disservice, I want to just find out where everyone is dialing in from. So let us know in the comments below. And I have yet to get onto LinkedIn to see who is commenting and who is not. I'll see it eventually in the comments here in StreamYard. But in the meantime, so look, Larry is here in Durham, North Carolina. So Larry, I was going to ask you to share with us. So you tell us a little bit more about where you are in Durham. Well, I mean, Durham is Durham, right? But maybe, and then we'll go to introduction. So Larry, you kick us off with it. I'm here. I'm here in New York City, but normally in Houston, but go ahead. Oh, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you. Hold up. Is my microphone on? I just got to make sure. Can you hear me? The block is hot here in Durham, North Kakalaki. So happy to be here on Sellovatorz live. Thank you so much, Denise. And that is awesome that you are live, broadcasting live from the LinkedIn offices in New York. I'm heading to New York next week for the Salesforce World Tour. I got the mics in my hand. I think I might have a couple other mics. Really help focus on helping sales professionals and leaders take their game to that next level. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited. Yay. So I want to let Larry do his own introduction, but I want to share how I met Larry. And it was just simply here on LinkedIn. It was so very cool. We've been connected through LinkedIn. We're both in sales. We both do a lot of coaching, and excited to have him share a little bit of his wisdom. I always say that one, I can always continuously learn, even though I'm a coach myself. And I've been doing this or at least sales for a really long time. And two, I always think that we should be collaborating rather than competing, right? And there are things that we each do individually that are amazing, that together we can just become this powerhouse. So that being said, I love Larry. I'm going to let him do his own introduction. You already know he's in Durham, North Carolina. He already gave you a little bit of an introduction to the fact that he's working with Salesforce.com as he's in New York next week. But Larry, why don't you share a little bit more about yourself for us?
No, I appreciate that, Denise. I don't know where to start, but I guess we'll start here. Larry Long Jr., CEO, that's Chief Energy Officer of LLJR Enterprises. How did I end up where I'm at? I played baseball at the University of Maryland. Go Terps. I'm a Terps legacy. My father ran track for the Terps. My sister ran track for the Terps. I'm the oddball in the black sheep of the family playing baseball, but hey, it is what it is. Started off my career at Accenture doing IT consulting. After 3.5 years, realized that wasn't my passion. So I moved to North Carolina from DC, Maryland, Virginia, and opened the indoor baseball softball academy. Woo! It was the love of my life, the dream job, teaching youngsters the fundamentals of baseball and softball. More importantly, the fundamentals of life. Well, I learned some fundamentals of business, that cash is queen. And if you run out of cash, you don't have a business. That's when I started my sales career, picking up that 500-pound phone, making 150 cold calls a day to accounting firms. And that's where I cut my teeth in sales, moved into sales leadership. Fast forward 16 years, I made the transition to now being a motivational speaker, a coach, a trainer, a consultant, a content creator, really serving the software sales community and helping them to elevate their game to the next level. I don't want to have a wardrobe malfunction. I got my master shirt on, but I'm a big believer that it's all about relationships. It's not what you know. It's not even who you know, but it's who knows you, who trusts you, who likes you, who believes in you, that really makes things happen. Happy to be here, Denise.
I love that. There's so much there to unpack. So we have a common interest. I am not at all a sports fan, but I've learned to love softball and baseball because my kiddos, both of them play, and they both play select ball or travel ball, whatever you call it in your neck of woods. Yes. Emma actually is a freshman who just finished out her freshman year, or finishing out. This week is her last week to play high school ball. So she does high school and select. She wants to go to college with a scholarship, and then she wants to be a vet, but coach select ball on the side. Like that's her hope. So we hope that she continues to do well. She has found her stride. Now, Matthias, on the other hand, he's my 9-year-old, and he still has a little bit to go, but he's already in select ball and he loves it. So I love that if I ever have any questions, I'm bringing them to you, Larry.
Just let me know. I'll help them out in terms of knocking out those home runs, and most importantly, having a good time. Those were some of the best times of my life playing sports. Team sports. So I love to hear that you're a baseball and softball mom.
Yeah, I love it. So Kevin said he said 150 calls a day to accounting firms. That will make you strong, which that is really very cool. You know, my first sales job was going door to door, business door to door. So I went from office building to office building, knocking on business doors. And I was selling long distance. So I'm going to date myself, long distance back in the day. So I was in the telecom industry. Pretty damn crazy. So I know what it's like to bang out those calls.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
Relationships, trust, love this. Too many people are transactional. Not Clinton, though, and definitely not Larry.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So tell us then, you went from doing this, 150 dials a day, spent 16 years in the industry before you went off on your own, and then started this whole, and there's a lot to unpack with that in itself. But tell us about your career, your 16-year career. You started out doing 150 dials a day, but what else transpired? How did you move or maneuver through your career that actually prompted you then to go off on your own?
Yeah, so making $150 a day will certainly strengthen your shell. And I just had the baseball experience allowed me to take strikeouts and failure and really realize that it's not final, that those are lessons learned. And a lot of times, lessons earned. So I was moved into a leadership position, and word gets around. Folks are like, this guy has a smile on his face, even though he's getting hung up on all day long, because accountants get paid for their time. Time is money. I'll never forget, you're in New York. There was an accountant I called in New Jersey who said through the phone, he said, Larry, I got something for you. I thought I was about to get a sign up. I said, I'm going to Sizzler. He had something else for me. He said, I want you to put on a pair of concrete shoes and jump off a bridge. I looked through our objection handling manual. I said, how do you overcome the kill yourself objection? It wasn't in there. So I said, the first thing that came to mind, I said, God bless you too. And then I hung up. It was very difficult picking up the phone for that next call, but I was able to do it and just realize that, hey, he's probably got some stuff going on in his life. He probably woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm still on a mission to help accounting firms, CPAs, to help their business owner. And it was really that unique perspective that allowed me to keep going. So sales leadership, I did a little stint in marketing and PR, but sales really had my heart, specifically SDRs, BDRs, filling the funnel, lead generation, which is near and dear to my heart.
I love that, because I don't think anyone has ever really truly experienced sales until they've had or been forced to, because no one likes the word had the opportunity or likes the terminology had the opportunity or phrase, because most people hate cold calling. But until you've truly cold called and gone through the rejection, and not just a cold call as in strategic account selling, right, where you pick up a few dials a day, right? We're talking, door to door or 150 dials a day. I mean, there you get the most experience, and you get rejection probably what, 80% of the time?
A lot. A
Yes,
lot. And it just builds you, it builds skills
it
that
does.
are very difficult to attain in any other career. I don't think there's any other career. And the lessons can be transferred as you go through this 4-letter word we call life, as you go through business, as you really go through any avenue of business, or for your personal life. It teaches you so much.
I so agree. I mean, the things that you learn when people say no and how to overcome those, whether it's coming up with being audible ready and being on the spot, present and in the moment, and actually coming up with responses immediately to those objections, or if it's taking in that information and not allowing it to eat you up and just moving on to the next call. So resilience, perseverance, right? I mean, it just builds so many characteristics, or helps you to build so many characteristics that you carry on through with life. But so here you had this 16 years of fun in sales, and then you went off and did your own gig, right? I love that. And so now, after having spent some time doing your own gig, you also have won this huge Salesforce.com award for, I think, like the second or third year in a row, right?
4. I'm sorry, 4 years.
Oh my gosh, 4 years in a row. So share a little bit about that, because he just came back from an event, fixing to go to an event next week in New York. And by the way, so everyone knows, I am in the LinkedIn reception lobby. So I'm a little distracted, I think, because there's so many people walking through. So if I am struggling a bit, that you know why.
It is okay. We are going to persevere. You've already been on an adventure and a misadventure with your flight and the whole spilling of the water on the laptop. So we
Yes.
understand, Denise. I've been absolutely honored by Salesforce. They recognized me as a top sales influencer for 4 straight years. And I don't know how, but I'm just on a mission to help and serve the sales community, the business community, the entrepreneurial community. And I've really been fortunate. They host these world tours where I've connected with a partner of Salesforce called GridMate. So I have the opportunity to support them at the world tours. I was just at World Tour Washington, D.C. I'm heading to World Tour New York next week. I was in New York in December. There's one in Albania. I said, I'll pass on that for now, but I think I'm going to be going to Dubai in May, knock on wood. But it provides an opportunity to really serve and support the Salesforce ecosystem globally, which who would have thunk it? I never would have imagined that I'd be doing what I'm doing. You won't believe this, Denise, but I used to get sent to detention in elementary, middle, and high school for talking. I know you're like, no way, Larry.
Imagine that.
No way.
Energy officer? No way.
But now I have the opportunity to serve, to speak, to rock the mics, literally and figuratively, as my career. Who would have imagined it? I never would have.
I know, that's awesome. I didn't actually have to go to detention, but when you got your report card, especially in elementary school, and where it said talks too much, that was always me.
I can relate. I think my teachers used to hold this sign up every time I walked in the room.
I love that. That made me snort. Sorry. I'm having fun, even though, because you alluded to my experience last night. So I'm having fun and enjoying it. But last night, actually, I was on the plane. I was sitting there working on my laptop, trying to do my newsletter, which normally goes out on Monday nights. And of course it did not, because the flight attendant was walking around. She hit my tray, which then hit my laptop, which then hit the water all over my laptop keyboard. Yes. Fun times.
But we persevere, and
we did.
Teaches us so much about taking those obstacles and finding a way over them, around them, under them if we have to. And sometimes right through them. In addition, there's other lessons in terms of preparation, being prepared and being ready, making sure that, in the words of the great philosopher, AI, not artificial intelligence, but Allen Iverson, we're talking about practice, because sales will expose. If you haven't practiced your skills, practice your game, you will be exposed and you'll have a tough time of having success. Whereas if you practice, you prepare, you're ready, we ready. The sky is the limit, and really there is no limit to the heights and the success that you can achieve.
I agree. So tell me, when you are working with BDRs and SDRs, how do you coach them so that they are practicing all the time? How would you recommend that someone going into the sales world, how should they best practice for conversations like this?
Yeah, schedule. Let me take a look at your calendar. If it's important, you'll have it scheduled. Oftentimes we realize we know what we should be doing. Denise, I know that I need to mix in a salad. My doctor told me, hey, Larry, you need to cut down on the fried foods, but I don't know if you know what time it is. Here in North Kakalaki, it's bow time. Those Bojangles, fried chicken, and biscuits are talking to me. So for the sales reps, the BDRs and SDRs, you know that you're supposed to practice, but knowing isn't always doing. My encouragement is open up your calendar, schedule time in the practice just by yourself. Everyone's got a smartphone. You can record yourself. You can leverage Zoom, and you can leverage an accountability partner, someone that you do it with. I think they say teamwork makes the dream work. Together, everyone achieves more. I really believe that, but you got to do it. There's so many people that are noodling. There's someone that's listening and watching right now that's noodling on, let me set up time to practice with my colleagues. But noodling isn't going to get you there. In the words of Nike, just do it, and just do it right now. Don't wait.
Well, I mean, that's for anything. That's what I love about sales. Anything that you learn in sales, you can carry on throughout your life, right? And adopt as best practices. And anytime you want to do anything, it's all about practicing. I mean, sports, you can't go out and just simply play. You can, but you're not going to play your best, right? Unless you're practicing. You're not going to be your best if you don't practice for your sales calls. And I am a firm believer as well. You can write it down, but it's not valuable until you actually execute. And the more you get out there and practice, the better you become. So, I actually have a client right now who is leveraging AI for practice. So she is using prompts and having the practice calls with AI when someone physically can't be there with her to do that. I think that is so super cool to leverage some of these new technologies to do just that, practice.
That's right. The tools are out there, and the opportunity. I mean, we have information overload. You talked about AI. There's information upon information upon information. Oftentimes what I see missing with those that I work with, the information is superb, but the action, folks aren't putting it into action. I'll give you my ABCs real quick. The A is action and accountability. It's very tough to hold yourself accountable. Find an accountability partner that you can support and that can support you. The B is belief. I know that coming up the bat, if I believe that I was going to strike out, don't strike out, don't strike out, don't strike out, I was probably going to strike out. Whereas if I went up there, in the words of the great philosopher, Kevin Hart, say it with your chest, yes, hard line drives, hard line drives, hard line drives, boom, hard line drives. The C is confident. It's the courage of doing the right things, doing the tough things. It's the care. It's the give a damn factor. Pardon my French. No parlez-vous français. It's also being committed. Later on, I have a coaching session with my coach, and we talk about, Larry, what are you committed to doing? Because sometimes I'll commit to things that I'm not really committed to. And what I learned is, if I'm going to commit, I'm going to be all in. The D is dream. For those sales professionals out there, dream big. Dream big. You might not see the forest through the trees. I think that's the saying, but dream big. There's so much opportunity that's knocking at your door. The E is energy. And you don't have to have dynamite energy like me, but you better bring your own energy. And then the F is have fun. Those are my ABCs. I gave you a couple extra. I think they call that la nyapa. One extra, three extra, a little more. So I hope someone gets touched by that.
Well, if you reflect back on each of those, A, B, C, D, E, F, 90% of them are mind space, right? And I use the term mind space versus mindset, but really 90% of sales, and if you translate that into life, 90% of our life is really based on the mind space that we live in, right? And sales is just like that. I mean, if we go in thinking that you're going to strike out, you are going to strike out 100%. And I work on teaching this with my daughter right now, who is, 14 years old. She's a girl. She's going through her normal, what a 14-year-old goes through, and teaching her to shift her mind space so that she is much more positive than negative, because sales is, if we are in a negative mind space, we are going to generate negative outcomes 100%.
So true. And I love how you fashion that and your perspective around mind space, the environment that we sit in. Denise, I had the absolute honor, privilege, and pleasure to publish a book called Jolt. And one of my chapters is strikeouts. They're a part of life. If you're doing anything that's worth anything, you're going to experience what some would call a strikeout. It's okay. It's what you learn from that experience. It's what you do as a result of that learning. It's who you share that with to help them uplift and to hopefully ensure they don't make the same mistake. That's why I believe that mentorship, having mentors, investing in yourself, and having coaching to support you along the way is the way to go. It will accelerate your learning curve. It's like having a Sherpa. If you're climbing Mount Everest, you might zig and that might get you killed when you should have zagged. It's having those folks around you that have been there, done that. And it's the company that you keep. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Are they uplifting you? Are they exhibiting a positive attitude? Are they driven and going and getting it and going and giving it? Go-givers, in the words of Bob Berg? Or are they negative Nancy's, negative Nellies, negative Neds, just bringing you down? Woe is me. Oh, everything sucks. No, you got to prune those people out of your life.
You do. And there are a few things that we could uncover there, or unpack. But, one of the things that I thrive on is really understanding when I fail, why I failed, right? And what are the learnings from that? Because sometimes it is in the failure that we become more successful, right? Because you can't, first off, life's not going to be easy, and you are always going to have moments. And those moments, it's really how you recover from that strikeout, right? That's really what defines us as individuals, is how we recover. And sales is a lot of strikeouts. I mean, there are a lot of strikeouts in sales. It happens that way, right? Whether you're cold calling, whether you're already working through the process, whether you're at the end and you're about to, close a deal, we have strikeouts all throughout the process. Now, we want to try to limit them. And that's where I love, here's another thing we could unpack is coaching. You just mentioned you've got a call with your coach. I think it's super important for us, even as good as we all claim we are, to continuously upskill, get better at what we're doing, right? Level up. Yes.
So true. You might be good, but what can you do to be great? You might be great. What can you do to be spectacular? How can you level up from where you're at today to that next level? And after you filled your cup and you continue to overflow, how can you help fill the cup of someone else? So I'm part of an organization called the National Speakers Association, the NSA. We're the NSA that speaks and not the NSA that spies and listens in on.
I don't want that.
Even though it's important to listen. We know this, but they have an award. It's the top award. It's called the Spirit of Cavett. Cavett Robert was the founder. And what Cavett Robert said is that we do not want to compete for the pieces of the pie. We want to collaborate. And you mentioned this earlier, Denise. We want to enlarge the pie so that everybody wins, everybody eats. Who doesn't like pie? I said, shoot, this is the organization for me right there. And they
Or Bojangles. Who doesn't want to eat Bojangles?
now you're talking my language. Don't tell my doctor or my wife. But essentially, they exhibited. I was just in Bogota, Colombia. I was speaking at the World Sales Forum last Friday, and one of my colleagues, Mark Hunter, the sales hunter, he took the time to meet with me when I arrived. He invited me to dinner with him and one of his teammates. He was just sharing secrets, insights, tips, guidance, support, encouragement for me when he didn't have to. Essentially, he and I are in the same industry. We're looking for the same opportunities. And he took that and said, you know what? I want to pour into Larry. I want to sow into Larry. I want to help Larry to have success because there's enough opportunity for us all to be successful. There's enough opportunity out there for us all to have a positive impact on the global world. So I encourage the sales professionals, and I use the word professionals because some of y'all are amateurs, but the sales professionals, I encourage you to really intentionally reset your mind space and shift to uplifting everyone. How can you serve? How can you help people learn and grow? It's amazing.
Well, I mean, I think so. I'm going to get a little frou-frou for a moment. So bear with us out there. But when you think about our purposes here on earth, right, it is really to share our gifts. And we all have gifts. And we just need to figure out how best to share those gifts. You have this energy, which I love Larry's energy. If you are ever down or frustrated or just funky, all you have to do is put on a video where Larry is talking and boom, immediately you get this energy. I mean, who can't but thrive off of you? But the other is, I think that when you talk about competition, if we look at it as competition, right, then we are limiting ourselves. And as we have the introduction of all these AI technologies, when there's so much noise out there, so many people out there competing, the true winners in our space are going to be those that collaborate and co-create together. That is really how we're going to thrive as humans and as salespeople.
Oh, big time. I totally agree. I'm going to put it in the chat. There's a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I ask myself this quote each and every morning. I look in the mirror and I say, Larry, what are you going to do today for others? Not what am I going to think about? Not what am I going to write down and doodle in my notepad, but what action will I take today with intentionality to serve someone else, to help someone else out? And I believe, at least for me, that's my purpose on this earth, is to help, support, and serve others, to help uplift them. I've been so honored, privileged, blessed by so many others. If I don't do it, in the words of my dad, you're dropping the ball, son.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I feel like we have so much to give. And we have the time. And when you don't give back, it's almost as if you're being selfish and self-centered and internally focused. And while you may see some immediate results or some positive results throughout your life, you'll never be truly blessed until you can learn how to give back to others. That's just my philosophy. Now, that being said, that's probably going to frustrate a lot of people who might not actually be those type of individuals, but you can shift. I mean, even in sales, if you're going to continue to be, if we look at 90% of salespeople fail in their first year. However, how many of those 90% actually keep going and turn it around? Because whether it's in sales or in life, you can adopt and adapt new strategies in your life so that you can shift and evolve and grow to be these amazing human individuals that we all need to be in order to thrive these days.
Oh, you're spot on. You're spot on. The opportunities are endless. It's limitless. It's out there, but it takes us making the decision of, yes, I will. And then after making the decision, you got to actually do it. You got to take that
I know,
first
you got to execute. You got to execute. Okay, so we talked about when you're teaching or coaching SDRs and BDRs, because that's where you thrive, right? That's where you love and spend most of your energy, right? It's about practice so that you can execute, right? So now you spend a lot of time on cold calling. How do you, when you've gotten past the practice, how do you work through some of the objections that you're going to get?
Well, it's preparation and it's practicing. It's having a process and framework. We know most of the common objections: price, internal, timing. We know what's coming. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you listen to rap, but 8 Mile, Eminem, he knew exactly what burns, what digs the rapper was going to come to him with, and he got ahead of it. We know what's coming. Hey, Denise, I know that pricing is probably top of mind. I know that budget, especially in today's environment. Let's get the elephant out. Let's not keep it a secret. Let's go ahead and discuss that. Let's focus on the value and understanding what problems are we solving. What's the opportunity cost if we don't solve the problem? And then let's be objective and say, as your trusted business advisor, as your consultant, maybe this doesn't make sense for you right now. As I'm hearing about the priorities in your organization, it doesn't make sense for us to implement this right now. Let's go ahead and regroup in 6 months. But on the flip side, if you're convicted and know that you have a solution to their problem and they're committed to fixing it, it's your responsibility as a sales professional to share that conviction, to let them know that, hey, I'm on your side. We're not on opposite sides of the table. We're rolling together. I think they say if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, mount up. If you mount up and roll with your prospects, with your clients, you're going to go oh so far. So we talked about it before. What's your process? What are you practicing? How many times have you practiced so that when you get into the game, you're now able to flow with the conversation? When you get those objections, as you talked about, Denise, are you listening to understand?
Actively listening, yeah.
Or are you ensuring that the prospect knows that you actually care? Is your commission breath, is it firing out? Or is your true empathy and care right here with the heart, is that shining through? It's not just what you say, but how you say it. Your body language, if you're on Zoom or on WebEx, how are you demonstrating that you truly give a damn about helping them solve the problems that are holding them back? Are you providing additional insights, perspective that they might not even have thought about? There's so much information that's out there. How are you delivering the human element? I don't know any kind of AI or robot that can replace the emotion that we as human beings are able to exhibit. It might be able to go out there and capture all this information, all this data that's out there in the cloud, wherever it is, but it can't mimic the human perspective, the human element, at least not yet that I know of. So how are you?
Not yet. It's coming.
You got to embrace it and figure out how can we use that to benefit our clients and our prospects. So that, in a nutshell, that's kind of where my mind space is.
Well, and you're speaking my language, because I talk about sales, AI, and humanity and bringing them together, right? Retaining that human element within the sales process, because I think we forget that. When we go back, though, quickly to practice, and I recognize that we're getting close to having to start to wrap up, but when you consider the practice, if you practice for those common objections and you're actively listening, and you're curious by nature, right? Because you really care and have empathy for your clients. Then when you have these unpracticed conversations, you can then be audible ready, which is what I say that we should do, right? Be audible ready, because you will have practiced the common ones so much so that when they bring you a new objection and you're present and in the moment and actively listening, you then have a better shot at providing them a response. Or If you can't, you have, through the conversation, you've been able to establish, hey, I might be able to come back to you and next time we have a conversation. So let me get back to you on that, right?
I love that.
You develop this
Audible
credibility.
ready. When you get faced with curveballs, being ready to adjust, to adapt, to be comfortable and confident in your ability to serve your prospects and your clients. But it comes down to actually putting in the time. You can't, we live in a microwave society. I'm going to call a spade a spade. We want things quick, easy,
immediate,
fast. Yeah, and you get what you pay for. I like things to be home cooked. I like it to marinate a little bit. Let's let that thing marinate and simmer.
Yeah.
So when you consistently practice, your skills are so ingrained that you can be audible ready, you can be flexible, you can freestyle because you already know that you're good in the neighborhood.
Yes. Speaking my language. And the other thing I would say, I would summarize one thing that you said, which was about, being there as a resource to them. And I always say, give 3 things before you ask for 1. So when you are in the conversation, in the discovery, having these cold calling, it's turning into discovery. When you can give 3 things, then you can ask for that 1 that you want. So whether that's a resource, or whether it's a question or an answer to a question. I mean, you can define with that prospective client what that is, right? What those 3 things are. But when you can give them 3 things, then you can more easily ask for 1.
I
for
love
the
it.
one big one.
I think you're going to see John Barrows later on. He talks about the give-get scorecard, and oftentimes we don't give. I think they call that the relationship bank, and oftentimes it's empty. We haven't made any deposits, and we're trying to withdraw. So I love what you're saying. Make 3 deposits where you give and you serve and you guide and you give again. And then you have the opportunity to withdraw. But without that, you're overdrawn. And I've been there before. It's no fun to be overdrawn.
No, it's not. And I realize that we are getting close to time. I want to share with everyone quickly where I'm at again, because I am, as you said, going to be with John Barrows later, along with Morgan Ingram and several other, I think there's like 100 of us here in the LinkedIn office. Super cool, right? It's for the Amp Up workshop, so I'm excited to be here. I'm also excited that I get to hang out. Actually, the guy who would have been my sponsor for allowing me to get to an office room actually came down while we were having the live, so I'll have to catch him again later. But anyway, I am super excited to be here, but I'm more excited that we had an opportunity to have this conversation, Larry, because first off, I love all that you stand for and all that you do. I love how you have won the Salesforce.com award 4 years in a row. And I just wanted to be able to share you with everyone else. And so am so excited and honored that you took the time to be here. So I want to ask you first, say thank you again, and then ask you what would be some parting words that you could leave everyone, or that you would want to leave everyone.
Well, Denise, thank you so much for hosting me. It was truly my honor to be here with you. Here goes what's on my heart. There's someone that's out there that's listening right now that has some FUD, not Elmer FUD, but some fear, some uncertainty, and some doubt in their mind. And I'm going to share with you that it's okay. Your body's trying to protect you. Fight or flight. And I'm going to encourage you that tough people, that's you. I'm talking to you right now. Tough people are greater than tough times. So whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is that you might be battling in your mind space, my encouragement is that you believe in your heart. If you need to manufacture that belief, you believe in your heart and you find some other hearts, call me if you need me, to help support you through whatever you're going through. Because I'll share this. You can do it. And if you're committed, you will do it. We all can, but who's going to actually take action? Make it you right now.
Love that. So how can everyone find you, Larry? You can see, or I did have it. Hold on. I'll put it down on the bottom again. You can find his handle there at LongJR7 on LinkedIn, but where else can they find you should they want to search for you?
Yeah, LinkedIn, and then my website. It's an easy one, Larry Long Jr. That's JR, LarryLongJr.com. I'm also on other socials. You can find me on YouTube, IG, X, TikTok, even though I don't dance. Happy to engage with you on whatever platform fits you best.
Awesome. Well, I want to again thank you for being here. I want to thank everyone who joined us out in the audience. And I did not have the opportunity. I wasn't in my office. I don't have it set up. I don't know how many were out there visiting or listening or tuning in, but I thank everyone for having been here. You can find the video in the replay. So if you're on Team Replay, let us know in the comments below. In the meantime, reach out to Larry. He will not only help lift you up and build your confidence, he can also help you as you go down this cold calling path, right? Journey. Sorry, a little bit of noise. As you go down this whole cold calling journey, Larry can take you down that journey and be with you as your coach. I always say we, even as coaches, always need a coach. We can always upskill. We can always up level our game. And it's upon us to take that first step. So reach out to Larry, reach out to me, reach out to anyone out there that you could use as an accountability partner, but let's truly elevate sales as what I would call a noble profession again. So thank you again to everyone. We're here every week on Tuesday mornings, 9 a.m. Central. I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm excited to be here at the LinkedIn offices. So watch out for content around today and all the people that I get to meet live for the first time. So thank you again, Larry. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. I'm going to end the stream, and Larry, stay on for just one brief moment.